Okay, so this is going to be my first video related to Sudoku on YouTube. I decided to make this video because I actually discovered a couple of tips. Well, I didn't really discover, probably a lot of people know these tips, but nevertheless, I found them kind of useful because lately I've been doing a lot of these evil, well, not even evil, was this Killer Expert? I don't even know the name, but I've been doing them. Killer Expert Sudokus. I have been doing a lot of Killer Expert Sudokus. Actually, I've been streaming on kick.com, um, on which I'm trying to solve them as fast as I can. You can see on the top corner, I didn't even take down the my personal best, and zero people watching emote here. So my personal best 637, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just kind of wanted to make a video about a couple of tips that maybe you'll find useful when it comes to trying to solve this not evil Killer Expert Sudoku, because it looks really daunting at first glance. It's 81 completely empty squares. Like you do not have any hints. Well, you have hints. You have these little squares inside of the squares. Um, and I don't know if anybody like made a video about how to solve them. Probably did. Probably. I'm not sure. I never really watched YouTube. I actually watched that one Sudoku guy video, but I forgot his name. That was like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever. So I decided to maybe, share a couple of tips. Now, this video may not be perfect because I'm live solving this basically, and often I get stuck. Often I need 20, 30 minutes, like the number says on top. My record is 6:37, and today my best time was 8:02. But actually, if I do a good Sudoku, it's around 9 to 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. If I get stuck, it can be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So I'm not an expert on this. I mean, I think I'm pretty decent at this, and I know some tips, but I'm not just like this genius is going to look at, oh my God, 81 completely empty squares, and I am 100% sure how to solve them. I'm not, sometimes I get stuck, sometimes I get frustrated, sometimes I make even mistakes. So, but I wanted to make a video about how to solve them. So, uh, at the first glance, the easiest thing that you should do is look at the empty squares. So, as you can see, you have a 5 here, so you should type in 5. Oh, I don't have the notes on. Okay, so you should type in 5. You have the 9 here, you should type in 4. The second thing you should do is look at the really small and really big, these little two square shapes. So, for example, you see a 3 here. So, what can a 3 be? It can only be 1 and 2. So, type in 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Why? Because what else could it be? It cannot be 3 and 0. It cannot be 4 and minus 1. It has to be 1 and 3. Now, this was really simple. Now, let's find other really small or really big shapes. For example, you have this 4 here. Now, what can the 4 be? This is a bit more difficult, I guess, than 3, but using the basic logic that all of us pretty much have because we are Sudoku solvers, we kind of have to realize that it has to be 1 and 3 because what else can 4 be? It cannot be 4 and 0. It cannot be 2 and 2 because you cannot write in 2 twice. It has to be 3 and 1. So this is actually really decent already. You have 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. Now, what else do we have here? We have another 4 here, as you can see. And this is also going to be 1, 3, and 1, 3. Now, um, let's continue. Now, this is another really good tip. Well, this is the first good tip, by the way. When you have a row or a column or a square or a 3 by 3 square, you have to know that the sum of the numbers has to be 45. So it has to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, which is 45. Because you have to have 1 through 9 numbers represented, basically. Um, so by that logic, you know that this, and this is 45. We know that this is 9. We know that this is 4. So 9 plus 4 is 13. We know that this is 9. So 13 plus 9 is 22. We know that this is 11. Uh, so that's 11 plus. Wait, I calculated it so slow that I actually messed up. So wait, 11 and 9, that's 20, 24, 33. So no, we know that this is 33. These are 33. So 45, which all of this has to be 45 minus 33 is 12. So we know that this has to be 12. Now, let that alone, or leave that alone. We'll figure that out later. But we know that this is 12. So, and we also know that this is 19. So 19 minus 12 actually has to be 7. So we know that this is 7. Now, should I actually do this tip first? Yeah, I think I should. Because, yeah, fuck it. We're kind of here. Um, so we know that this is 12, right? These two are 12 and everything here is 19. Okay. So 12. What can 12 be out of two numbers? Well, it obviously cannot be one or something, one and something, because 1 and 11, of course, that cannot work. It cannot be 2 and 10. It can be 9 and 3. But guess what? The 9 and, as a matter of fact, the 3 is also taken. Now, what else can it be? It can be 8, 4. Is the 8 or a 4 taken here? No, I cannot see that. It's a possibility. Can it be 7 and 5? Yes. But as you can see, the 7 is taken, and you cannot use a 7 in the same, you know, circled area or whatever you call this shape. Although technically you can put a 7 here, but it's in the same area, so you cannot use a 7 and a 5. And what else? 6. It cannot be 6 and 6 because that's repetition. So by the process of elimination, it cannot be 9 and 3. It cannot be 7 and 5. It has to be 8 and 4. 8 and 4, 8 and 4. So this is actually getting solved really nicely. Um, Now let's see this 9. Try to look always for the smaller numbers. Although 9 is not really small, it's kind of a medium-sized number. What can 9 be? So 9 has four combos: 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So 9 can actually be really painful because basically every number is kind of taken. There is no number that you can eliminate in the beginning. Like, for example, from a 7, it cannot be 7 and 0, 8 and minus 1, 9 and minus 2. It has to be 6 and 1, 5 and 2, 4 and 3. But for 9, basically any number besides the 9 is a possibility, which kind of sucks in this case. But let's see. So we have the 8, and as a matter of fact, we have the 1 taken. So it's not 8 and 1. Can it be 7 and 2? Yes, we don't have the 7 nor the 2 taken. Can it be 6 and 3? Actually, no, because we have the 3 taken, and it cannot be two threes in the same row. Can it be 5 and 4? No, because we have the 4 taken. So actually has to be 7 and 2. This has to be 7 and 2, 7 and 2. And now we have the two remaining numbers, and you don't even have to think about these. Just look at the missing numbers and, add them up in case this is not 11, you made a mistake. But this is going to be 11 because this is going to be 6 and 5 and 6 and 5. Now, you kind of started doing some nice stuff here. And maybe continue doing this part because there seem to be a couple of solutions hanging. Now, always look for the easier ones because, this shape is a 15 shape with four squares. You're hardly going to figure that one out. This is a 21 with four. You're hardly going to figure that out. There is a bazillion of solutions and you don't even know if this is a 4 or this is an 8. 23. Now, actually, I'll leave 23 for a later on. We'll do 8 first. So obviously, it cannot be 8 and 0, 9 and 1. For 8, it can be 7 and 1, 6 and 2, and 5 and 3. It cannot be 4 and 4. So let's see. 7 and 1. Well, you already have the 7 taken here, so it cannot be because you cannot have two sevens in the same square. So it's not 7 and 1. 6 and 2, well, you have the 2 taken also, so it cannot be 6 and 2. And then the only possible solution is going to be 5 and 3. So that's 5 and 3, and that's 5 and 3. Now, let's continue. We have the 9 here. So as I previously mentioned, the 9 can be really annoying. But let's just check it if there is a possibility to solve it. So 9 can be 8 and 1. Well, there is an 8 here, but there is a possibility that the 8 will go in the other square, or the other 3 by 3 square, which would make this a 4, which would open up the possibility for this to be an 8 and 1. So 8 and 1 is a possibility. 7 and 2 is already completely used here. 6 and 3, well, we have this 3 being used here, so it's not going to be 6 and 3. And also 5 and 4 is also impossible because this is going to be 5 and 4. Now, everything is eliminated, and the only possible solution is going to be 8 and 1. So this is going to be 8, 1, 8, 1, and this guarantees that the 8 is going to go in this square here, right here. So it guarantees that this is not 8. This cannot be 8 because you cannot have two 8s in the same square. So this is going to be 4, and thereby, by the process of elimination, this is going to be an 8. Now, um, actually, this can be solved in two different ways. So obviously, the easy solving here is just look at the missing numbers. So what are the missing numbers? One, you have one. Two, you have two. You have three, you have four, you have five. You don't have six, you have seven, you have eight, and you don't have nine. So this is going to be 6, 9, and 6, 9 in some order. Now, when you have a 23, this is a bonus tip. When you have a 23, it must be 9, 8, and 6. Because what else can it be? So 23, obviously, it cannot be one, it cannot be two. You can do the calculations by yourself. It has to be big. So when you have three numbers, the biggest sum that you can get is 24 because 24 is 9 plus 8 plus 7. So if it's 23, there is only one solution to that. It's 9 plus 8 plus 6. It cannot be 9 plus, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. I mean, it cannot be 10 plus 6 plus 5 or whatever. It's not even 21. But you get the point. There is no other solution to that. It has to be 9, 8, 6 exactly. And if you have the 6 and the 9 cover here, that means that the 8 absolutely must go here. Okay. So actually, when you see a 23 shape, you can automatically just type in 986, 986, 986. So you can just skip that, but this was a bit of a longer explanation. Now, let's continue. Um, I think that one more tip here. I think that you should be looking, and the first thing after the easy solutions that you should kind of do is maybe look at squares at 3 by 3 squares because you know that the sum in the squares is also 45, and you should also look for columns and rows that's also 45. So for example, the thing I wanted to say is look at this square. So you have 16, 13, 3, and this 20 shape that goes into other square. Now, how can you logically fix this? Well, actually, you know that this is 45, so all of this is 45. So what if you just add everything up? It's 16 plus 13, that's 29, plus 3, that's 32. And you know that all of this is 45. So wait, 45 minus 32, you actually know that this is 13. So what does that mean? 20 minus 13, you know that this is 7. Okay. So you know that this is 13 and you know that this is 7. Now, let's just continue here because we seem to have some success here. Uh, this is 13, right? So what can 13 be? It cannot be low numbers. It can be 1, 2, 3. It can be 4 and 9. Is there any blockage here? No, we have 8, we have 7, we have 7. No, it can be 4 and 9. It can be 8 and 5. Well, technically, it cannot be 8 and 5 here because we already have the 8 used. And it can be 7 and 6. Well, it's a double penetration because we have the 7 here and the 7 here. So there is absolutely no shot that there is a 7. So we're basically left with 9 and 4, 9 and 4. Okay, this is shaping up really nicely. Now, what else can we do here? Um, Another thing that you can do, as I mentioned, well, you can simply continue with the solution of the squares, the 3 by 3 squares, because you have the 7 here, uh, you have the 13, you have the 6, but you cannot add these up. So if you ran out of squares, I didn't check every single of them, a single one of them, you can go to rows, basically. For example, look at this row. This is 20, or this is a column. No, it's a row. English isn't my native language. So look at this 20, look at this 6, and look at this 13, and look at this missing number. So you just simply add them up. It's 20, it's 6, that's 26, plus 13, that's 39. 45 minus 39, because this has to be 45, is 6. So this is going to be 6. Okay. Um, let's just do a quick check. Because this is 16, these three numbers are 16. Minus 6, that's 10. So these two numbers are 10. What can 10 be? Well, first of all, it cannot be 5 and 5. It can be 6 and 4, but the 4 is already taken. It can be 7 and 3, which is completely open. It cannot be 8 and 2, at least here, because the 2 is taken. And it cannot be 9 and 1, because the 1 is taken. So that leaves us with a easy 7 and 3, 7 and 3. And look what else did I notice. Actually, the 6 fixed this one. So this is a 5 and this is a 6. So that's why it's really important for you to use, especially when you have two solutions, two possible solutions. That's why you need to use pencil marks because you don't even notice that something got fixed. Something got, the solution just arrived there because you realized something else. Okay, so by the process of elimination, we know that the missing numbers are 9, we have there. We don't have an 8, we have a 7, we have a 6, we don't have a 5. So that's 8, 5, 8, 5. But you can actually see that there is a 5, so this cannot be a 5. This will be an 8, and this will be a 5. Okay. Uh, Another bonus tip here is that when you have a 6 out of three numbers, it absolutely must be, and there is no other way, it has to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because what else can you do? What from which numbers can you make a 6? You cannot have a 2, 2, 2. You cannot have a 3, 3, 0. You cannot have a 1, 1, 4 or whatever. It has to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing that people are missing, including myself, is when you have these like double pencil marks. So you have pencil marks going this way, and you have pencil marks going that way. So you kind of maybe miss that there is a 3 here. So there has to be a 3 somewhere here, which means that the 3 cannot possibly go there. So you can automatically eliminate the 3. You can also automatically eliminate the 1 because the 1 is there. So you eliminate the 1. But you cannot eliminate 2 because 2 can go there and 2 can go there. And of course, the 2 can go there. So another useful thing is, although this is three numbers, but when you have a row basically solved, so 1, 2, 3, that you simply find the missing numbers here. Missing numbers are 4, you have a 5, we have 6, we don't have a 7, so that's 7, we have an 8, and we don't have a 9. So this is going to be 479, 479, and 47, but not a 9 because we already have a 9 here. Okay, now let's continue and let's look at other solutions that we can find. Now, I see that there is a similar scenario here. We have 18. We have 11, so 18 plus 11, that's 29. We have a 5. 29 plus 5, that's 34. So that means 45 minus 34, this has to be 11. Which means that since this is 19 and this has to be 11, this has to be an 8. Okay, so this is going to be 11. And another useful tip here, when you're kind of stuck, like let's say this is 11, and you know, of course, that 11 can be 9 and 2, 8 and 3, 7 and 4, and 6 and 5. Um, you know that it cannot be 8 and 3, of course. You don't know if it can be 9, 2. You don't know if it can be 7 and 4. And you don't know if it can be 6 and 5. Let's just ignore this 5 here. So you cannot figure that one out here. But an important thing is to know that, for example, let's grab 6 and 5. A 6 has to go somewhere here or here. So if you have a 6 here and you have a 6 here, there is no place for the 6 to go to. So that means that this cannot be a 6 and 5. So that's eliminated. So it cannot be an 8 and 3, it cannot be a 6 and 5. It still can be a 9 and 2, and it still can be a 7 and 4, but you kind of eliminate the 6 and 5. Okay, let's continue. Now, another thing that you can do when it comes to these types of Sudokus, and this is going to require a bit more calculations, is the fact that not only that, let's say this has to be 45, or this has to be 45, the 3 by 3 square has to be 45, two rows or two columns have to be 90. So this sounds really boring and really annoying, but they have to be 90. Or as a matter of fact, three columns or three rows have to be 135. So as you can see, you have this and you have this. So if, for example, you don't see this 8 or you don't see this, you can also calculate it as two complete rows. So all of this has to be 90 basically. So for example, 19 plus 18, that's 37, plus 11, that's 48, plus 5, that's 53, plus 4, 57, plus 5, 62, plus 19, 81. So we have 81 here, and there's only one square missing. So 90 minus 81, it has to be 9. Okay. And if this is 10 and this is 9, this has to be 1. Okay. You could have just easily done this by calculating this row, but in the case that you missed it, this is another good tip. So if you see two rows and there's only one square that's kind of like not there, not perfectly aligned, you can calculate it basically. Now this one really helps because it eliminates the one from here. So this is going to be 3. And also this is going to be automatically 1. And look what we found. This is going to be 2 because it cannot be 3 because we paid attention to our pencil marks. Now it cannot be 1 because we fixed that or we solved that. So it has to be 2. And now this has to be 1. And now this has to be 3. And look what we solved here. Because of the 2, this cannot be a 2. It has to be 7. And this has to be 2. Okay. Now, by the basic laws of Sudoku, this will be 2 because 2, 2, it cannot go here, it cannot go here. So the only empty square is this. So this is like the basic law of Sudoku. And by the laws of Killer Expert Sudoku, this is 5 minus 2, so this has to be 3. Okay, so um, another example why you should pencil mark two empty squares because it takes up the space basically. So as you can see, if you look at this column, I think it's called column. English isn't my native language, so this is what it is. You can see the missing numbers. So you can see there is 1. You can see that there is no 2. So you should write in 2 and 2. There you can see that there is 3. You can see that there is 4, although there is a pencil mark, but the 4 is going to go somewhere there in one of those two squares. There is 5. There is no 6, so you should write in 6, and of course you should check it. 7 is there, 8 is there, and 9 is going to be somewhere there. Okay, so why is this important? Well, because a couple of things. So you see that this is a 21 shape, right? 21 shape out of 4. You know that this is 2, and you know that there's a 6. So 2 plus 6 is 8, which means that this is going to be 21 minus 8. This is going to be 13. And you could immediately start looking at the 13s. Another important thing here is that you can just basically use the laws of Sudoku. So there's a 2 and 6, 2 and 6. So you scan the box and you scan the columns and the rows. Is there a 2 or a 6 that's kind of, playing along or just, hanging around there so you can actually solve this. Well, there is no 2, there is no 6 here, but there is a 6 here, so this cannot be a 6. This must be a 2, and therefore this must be a 6. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is 2 plus 6, that's 8, and this is 21. 21 minus 8 is going to be 13. So we actually had a couple of 13s already. So 13s can be 9, 4, 8, 5, and 7 and 6. After you play out, I think like 5 or 6, or after you solve like 5 or 6 Sudokus, you're going to realize that these combos are not hard to kind of remember. Like you will actually remember all of the 17, 16, 15, 14, and so on combos. The most difficult ones are probably 9, 10, 11, those with a lot of numbers. The easiest one are probably 3, 4, 16, 17, and so on. So it's really not difficult to remember. And of course, it can be 9, 4, 8, 5, 7, 6. But 8 is already there, so it cannot be 8, 5. As a matter of fact, we already have a 5 here too. It cannot be 7 and 6 because there is a 6. So the only possible solution is 9 and 4 and a 9 and 4. Now, in the case that there is no 9 here, this is another tip. You see that 9 has to go here. You see that 9 has to go here. So the only possible area that the 9 could go is here, here, or here. And in case that these numbers are 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, or as a matter of fact 9, the 9 won't be able to go there. So the only open square would be 9. So in the case that this is not easily solved. Like if this is not 9, this is 11 plus 9, this is 20, for example. These four squares are 20, and you don't know, wow, how can I solve 20? What the fuck? It's actually quite easy because the 9 has to go somewhere here, and if this is a 4 and this is a 20, like it cannot go to the 4 because it's a 9, so it has to go there. So that would be 9. Okay, let's continue. Um, let's just solve this one, for example, because by the laws of basic Sudoku, you can kind of see which numbers are missing, and those numbers are 1, you have a 2, you don't have a 3, so it's going to be 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Okay. Um, I think another thing that you could do to speed up your Sudoku solving skills, I'm guessing, is to do this. So you can see that there's a 3, and you can see that there's a 3, and there's a 3, and also there's a 1, and there's a 1. So that wasn't the best explanation in the world. But by the process of elimination, you can understand that if the 3 goes somewhere here or here, the 3 cannot go there. So this has to be 7, therefore this has to be 3. And if the 1 has to go here, this has to be a 2, and this has to be a 1. Okay, let's continue. So we have a 15, a giant 15 four square shape. We know that this is a 1, this is a 3, which means that 1 plus 3 is 4. So this is going to be 11. Now 11 is probably the most annoying shape, but you can actually figure this out. So 11s can be 9 and 2, 8 and 3, 7 and 4, 6 and 5. Now let's see. Can it be 9 and 2? Well, I don't see a 9. I see a single 2, but the 2 can go there. And I don't even see a 9. There is no 9 here, no 9 here, no 9 here. Okay. So it can be a 9 and 2. 8 and 3, well, no. I mean, you cannot have the same number twice in the same shape, so it's not going to be 8. And you also have it here. 7 and 4, well, 7. Okay. There's a possibility. And 4, I don't see a 4. Well, I see a 4 here, but the 4 can go there. And then 6 and 5, you have a 6 here. You have now, this is kind of a expert killer Sudoku trait. You will often find yourself in situations in which you have the same sum of numbers twice in the same square missing. For example, you know that this is 11, but you also know that this is 11. So this is 19 minus 8. This is going to be 11. So you will often find yourself in this, for example, you will think unescapable, unescapable. You cannot escape from the situation, unsolvable situation of two, for this example, 11s in the same square. Like, how can you solve this? This can be 9 and 2, and this can be 7 and 4. You just don't know. Well, you have to look for everything. Here is the solution. There's a 2 here. There's a 2 here. So this cannot be 9 and 2. And we also know that, of course, this cannot be 8 and 3. This cannot be 6 and 5 because there's a 6 and 5. So the only possible solution is 7 and 4. And bonus, you have a 7 here. So the 7 goes there and the 4 goes there, which automatically solves this one because this has to be 9 and 2. And you have a 2 there. So that means 2 goes here and the 9 will go there. Okay. Whew, let's continue. Okay, so and this is kind of a basic tip, but for example, if you have a couple of numbers that's obviously frequent in a Sudoku, you should type them in. For example, you have a 9 here, 9 here, 9 here. So obviously the 9 is going to go here or here, which kind of helps. May help later. And when you're trying to kind of speed solve the Sudoku, one of the most annoying things is, for example, let's say I solved everything here, and I solved, let's say, everything here, but I didn't solve this area, and I don't have pencil marks. That can be really annoying because you cannot just see everything immediately. Like, oh, where's the 9? Where's the 7? You cannot see. It's too many numbers. If it would be like a 2 by 2 Sudoku, it would be much easier to see 1, 2, 3, 4, what's missing. But it's a 3 by 3 Sudoku, so you cannot immediately see the numbers. That's why pencil marks, even in these lame situations, are really important. Because maybe I will solve a 9, like somehow, somewhere here, so that would help me with this, or I will solve the other numbers. And also I can immediately solve this one because I know that this is 18. But of course, the 9 will have to go here. So the remaining two numbers are going to be 18 minus 9. They are going to be 9. So what can be 9? It can be 8 and 1, 7 and 2, 6 and 3, 5 and 4. Now, let's look at the possible solutions. 8 and 1, I don't see a block here. Nothing. Okay, it can be 8 and 1. 7 and 2, well, I see a 7, or I don't see a 7. Excuse me, that was random. I see a 2. So this cannot be 7 and 2. 6 and 3, well, I see a 3, so this cannot be 6 and 3. And 4 and 5, I see a 4, so this cannot be 4 and 5. So this has to be 8 and 1. So you can actually type that one in. And therefore, you actually know the missing two numbers here because you have the 1, you have the 2, you have the 3, you have the 4. You don't have the 5. Now, you can already check if there is a 5. And guess what? There is a 5 here. So this is going to be 5. And then this is going to be 6. Okay. Obviously, you can solve this one because this is the, I mean, of course, you should do the easiest one. And you know that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. What's missing? Number 5. 5 is missing. And then you have the 13 minus 5. This is going to be 8. And as you can see, this is going to get easier towards the end. You can most likely, I mean, easily solve this. You can look at this 11, for example. You can see that this is not going to be 8 and 3 because you have the 8, you have the 3. This is not going to be 7 and 4 because you have the 7. This is not going to be 6 and 5 because you have the 5. It's going to be 9 and 2. But you know that the 9 has to go here or here, absolutely must. So it cannot go there in this 3 by 3 square. That means that by the process of elimination, this has to be a 2 and this has to be a 9. Oh, guess what? We solved this one. This has to be a 4, and this has to be a 9. It's such a satisfying feeling when you have a bunch of pencil marks and you just kind of solve you just kind of like start solving and it's a chain reaction. For example, the moment I solve something here, it's going to be a chain reaction because if I solve this 9, this is going to be a 4 and this is going to be 4 and so on and so forth. So that's going to be really exciting to watch. Okay, by the laws of Sudoku, you should probably do this one next because you have 8 numbers in a 9 number area. And let's see what's missing. So we have the 1, we have 2, we have the 3 here, obviously. We don't have the 4, so this is going to be a 4. Now, 18 minus 4 is 14. Now, what can be 14? It cannot be 7 and 7. It can be 8 and 6, and it can be 9 and 5. Now, this cannot be 9 and 5 because you have the 9 here, so it's going to be 8 and 6. And by the process of elimination, there's an 8 here, so this has to be 6, and this has to be 8. Okay. Now, um, the next thing you should do here is probably this one, and then probably this one, just to kind of solve everything here. Now, as I mentioned like 2 or 3 minutes ago, quite often you'll end up in a situation like this when you have like this giant area completely solved, and then this like completely empty area. And the transition can be really annoying, and you have to pay a lot of attention to actually find the trick because sometimes it's kind of hidden. Sometimes the transition is hidden because, for example, we kind of, I think, got lucky here because there are numbers that's going to be solved here. But sometimes you have a completely empty side and you just don't know how to, you have everything solved here and nothing solved there. So you just kind of cannot do that. You can write a bunch of pencil marks, but if you have too many pencil marks, you can get completely lost. I think, I think having pencil marks in an area that's not together, for example, like this is 18, it's okay to have pencil marks here. But for example, if I would have pencil marks here, here, or here, that would be kind of risky. That would be kind of confusing, to be honest. I don't like to do that. I rarely do that. Now, anyways, the easiest thing we can do here is try to solve this. So what are we missing? We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. We don't have 4, we have 5, we have 6, we have we don't have 7, we have 8, and we have okay. So we are missing 4 and 7, 4 and 7. Now always look for the smaller area because How can you know if this is 4 or 7, 4 or 7? It's a freaking 19. Like, you cannot calculate that. You can have a, let's say, 7 here, 12 is remaining. How do you know what's 12? It can be 3, 4, 5. It can be, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, or whatever. So the easier thing here is try to focus on this. So 4 is 7. Okay. So let's see. Can this be a 4? If this is a 4, 12 minus 4, that's 8. Well, can the 8 go here? No, because you have the 8 here, and actually you have the 8 there also. So this cannot be 4. So by the process of elimination, this is going to be 7, and this is going to be 4. And now this is 12 minus 7, this is going to be 5. Okay, so that's kind of easy. Okay, now I mentioned that this is long as hell. But you know that everything here is solved, and therefore, by the process of elimination, you know which three numbers are missing. So we have a 1, we don't have a 2, but we have a 2 here. So actually, the 2 will go only here or here. We have a 3, we have a 4, we have a 5. We don't have a 6, and there is no solution for the 6. So 6 has to go there. 6. And we don't have a 7. So we don't have a 7, although 7 is here, but we don't know which one is 7. We have to put the 7 here. We have to put the 7 here. We have to put the 7 here. Okay. Now, I mentioned that I don't really like to put the pencil marks in non-related areas. But in this case, it's only two numbers. So you might as well do it. What are the numbers missing? 1, 2. Missing number is 3. Now, before you put in a unrecommended pencil mark, the first thing you should do is try to calculate. So can the 3 go here? Well, of course it can because, this is going to be 11 minus 3, that's 8. And, although it cannot be 5 and 3, it still can be 6 and 2. And it cannot be 7 and 1, but 6 and 2 is a possibility. Okay, so the 3 can definitely go there. But can the 3 go here? That's the question. So it's going to be 19 minus 3. That's going to be 16. Now, can this be 16? Well, it cannot, because the only possible 16 is 9 plus 7. But the 9 is already taken, so this cannot be 9 and 7. Therefore, this cannot be 3. So the 3 must go here. And what's the other missing number? I actually forgot. This is going to be 4. Okay. So everything here is getting solved because for example, I know that this is 11 and this is 3. So this is 11 minus 3, that's 8. Now, what can 8 be? It cannot be 4 and 4. It can be 5 and 3, but in this case, we already have the 3. It can be 6 and 2. Of course, it can. And it can be 7 and 1, but it cannot in this case because we have the 1 being used here. So this has to be 6 and 2. This has to be 6 and 2. And there's a couple of eliminations here because as you can see, both the 6 and the 2 are being used here as a possibility. But we know that that's not true. That's impossible. So we can eliminate them. So the only possible solution in this square is going to be 7. And now this is getting solved. This is going to be 6. And this is going to be 2. And now this is going to be 4. Okay, so we actually solved a lot of numbers here. Now, the next step is try to do this one. It's 19 minus 4, so this is going to be 15. Now, what can be 15? It can be 9 plus 6, and it can be 8 and 7. Now, we know that it cannot be 9 and 6 because we have the 9. So this is going to be 8 plus 7. And actually, we can see the 8 being here. So the 8 must go there. And 7 must go there. And now we're getting a huge number of solutions because the chain reaction started. So this is going to be 1. This is going to be 8. This is going to be 3. This is going to be 1. Hopefully, this is visible on the screen because I'm screen recording. This is going to be 5. This is going to be 3. Okay. Uh, we of course know that we have two numbers missing here. And these two numbers are actually going to be 5 and 4. And you can check them out. So this is going to be 5. This is going to be 4. Therefore, this is going to be 9. This is 4. This is 6. This is 9. This is 2. This is 6. And as you can see, this is kind of getting solved here. This is going to be 9. This is 7. This is 1. This is 9. This is 8. 3, 1. Oops, sorry for that. That's a misclick. This is 1. Okay. And we have the last 4 squares remaining. This is going to be easy. And by the laws of Sudoku, you should fix it. You can actually, the good feature here is that you can actually highlight it. For example, you can click on 1 and you can see that there is no 1 in the square. But you can see that 1 goes there and one goes there, so the empty square is this. And when you're speed solving, this can be really annoying because you're trying to look at this column and see what number is missing, what number is missing. You just try to brainstorm too, but sometimes you make a mistake. So therefore, I think highlighting is the best thing that you can do. So you highlight the one, you highlight the two, you can see the two, then you highlight the three, and you can see the three goes there, so this has to be three. You highlight the four, but you see the four is already there. Then you highlight the five, you can see the five goes there, okay. And then you highlight the six, you can see that there is no six, and this is going to be six. Okay, so that was a short, well, it says 43 minutes. I think I started with I think around, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 8 minutes. Okay, so that was like probably like a, let me see it in the OBS, actually. Yeah, 40-minute tutorial. 40-minute tutorial, how to solve a expert killer Sudoku. Hopefully I gave you a couple of tips. Um, there is plenty of tips that you should find out by yourself. I'm not going to do another one completely, but I think the most important tips that I have for you is always look at when it gets difficult. Always look at this has to be 45. These two have to be 90. So, for example, you can see that there is one thing missing here. So if you don't know anything, if you're stuck, you can always calculate 13 plus 18, that's 31, plus 15, that's 46, plus 11, that's 57, plus 14, that's 71, plus 2, that's 73, plus 11, 70, 85, and 90 minus 85, this has to be, oops, I miscalculated. Okay, I tried to sound smart there, but I miscalculated. 2 plus 11, 13. 23, 27, 38, 56, 66, 71. Yeah, I tried to sound smart there. Okay. I tried to sound smart there. I miscalculated, but the point is that you should always look at these areas. It has to be 45, it has to be 90. What are the possible solutions? What's getting blocked? So this is 22 minus 6, so this has to be 16. What is 16? It has to be 9 and 7. 9 and 7. So this is 11, for example. This cannot be 9 and 2 because both the 9 and 2 are used. This cannot be 6 and 5 because the 6 is used. This cannot be 7 and 4 because the 7 is used. So this actually has to be 8 and 3. So you can actually see how progress is being made. For example, you already know that 8 is being used. So what is 15? 15 is 9, 6 or 8, 7. It cannot be 8, 7 because the 8 is used. So it has to be 9 and 6. 9 and 6. Then you look at the 11. You think, well, it can be 9 and 2, but the 9 is used. It can be 8 and 3, but the 8 is used. It can be 7 and 4, that's open. It cannot be 6 and 5 because the 6 is being used, so it has to be 7, 4, 7, 4. So you can see how the board is already it's looking much better by the simple calculation. For example, this has to be 3 and 1. This has to be 3 and 1. This is of course 7. This is 3. Well, I might as well just fucking do it. I mean, 1, 3. Okay. One more tip here, bonus tip. When you have a 6, it can only be two things. It can be 4, 2, and it can be 5, 1. So if you have only one of those four numbers, 1, 2, 4, 5, somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, that means that that's automatically disqualified. So it has to be, you have the one here, so it has to be 4 and 2. 4, 2, 4, 2, and this is already 4, and this is already 7. So, I mean, I might as well just finish this, but you get the point. I'm not going to waste your time. This is also going to be 8 and 9, 8 and 9. So this is an addict. I'm an addict, bro. I have to like, I just saw this Sudoku, so I have to, just go for it. But I do not want to, although I don't know how to stop this video. I don't know how to stop this video. Anyways, I might as well just, stop doing the Sudoku. Stop doing the Sudoku. This is a 6. It has to be 1, 2, and 3, but the 1 cannot go there, so it has to be 1. So this is 2 and 3. Oh my God. I have to stop. I have to stop. Okay, I have to stop. Stop looking at the Sudoku. Okay, this also can be solved. But okay, let me just end this video. I will finish the Sudoku off camera, off stream. Well, this is not a stream, off camera, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me just close this. Recording. Okay, 45 minutes. Good. Thank you very much for watching. Just you can watch me on Kick, speed solving Sudoku. The link will be down in the description box. Thank you very much. See you.